All right, we're back with our NFL draft preview. Drafts tomorrow. We're going to do the playoff teams. I know we did a couple playoff teams. Those are the teams that kind of lost in the first round. Wild card. These are the best teams in the NFL. Interesting to see how they're going to piece together for some of them to make that jump to hopefully the conference championship Super Bowl, and some of them to keep their steady eye as the number one teams in the NFL. Yeah. So we're going to start with the Chargers. Chargers. A little bit of a disappointing end of the year. Nobody's saying Herbert can win the big game. They lose to the Texans. Actually, get blown out. A couple pick sixes. I think they go O-line here. I think they go Kenneth Grant from Michigan. You look at their depth chart. They don't have much for the Chargers. They don't have much on the depth chart in the line. I think they got to get more time. We know they got the two receivers, Quentin Johnson and Mike Williams, have to step up. Johnson couldn't catch a cold for the first 2 years. Williams has been injured and out. We know McConkey has been.
Who are you leaving off there? Who are you leaving?
But you look, they have no backup at left tackle. They have a couple questionable guys at right guard and right tackle. So I think they go get Kenneth Grant, a good offensive lineman from Michigan who can play multiple positions. So that's why I think the Chargers will go.
I'm actually not going to lie. I'm seeing McConkey as the number one receiver when you've got two receivers that are both over 6'3".
Yes.
That's weird.
Yeah. But Najee's on their team now. They got a running back. They got Najee Harris from the Steelers. So I think that they go offensive line here and not skill. They hold out for one more year to get a good year. Defense.
They need defense.
I mean, their defense was not bad. I mean, the defense played good in that game. Granted, they did lose Bosa. That's a big loss for them.
That's a huge loss.
That was tempting me of going to get a defensive end here, and they may go that way. Is that any way you think they should go?
Kind of, because if you're willing to give someone up as powerful as Bosa and as I guess a big of an effect that teams have to account for every game, you have to replace him with something. Whether it's a linebacker to come off the edge or him an end, you need that.
That's so look, I'm saying O-line, you're saying
defensive front, basically.
Right. Next is the Packers. Okay. All right, so the Packers, to me, they got the running back in Jacobs. They got receivers if they can stay healthy. They got their quarterback. I think, to me, their defense actually played very well last year.
They got Vaness.
Gary Walker, great players. Kenny Clark's a great player. McKinney's on their team now. He was there last year, but they got good secondary. So I think they go offensive line too. They don't have a backup right tackle. They got some questions on the offensive line. I think they go Josh Connolly from Oregon, who's a great offensive tackle, to shore up their future multi-million-dollar quarterback. That's what I would do if I was them. Now, Jordan Love got injured, and that really cost them down the stretch. Protect your long-time quarterback. Go get you a good offensive lineman in the first round. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I would agree with that. They know they're sticking with Love. They need either. Who's their running back behind Jacobs?
Kind of running back by committee. The receiver, you look, all three guys. Do they need to go get the kid from Ohio State? Emeka Ibuka, or maybe Trey Harris out of Ole Miss.
Actually, Trey Harris out of Ole Miss is probably one of the best dynamic receivers in the draft coming up.
Yeah.
So I would say he'd be a good prospect for a team like this because they need somebody who's going to.
Because remember when they got to the game, they had nobody. He had nobody to throw to. Yeah. Watson was down, so these guys. Miko Hardman's on the team now, so I don't know. They seem like they got.
They went and got a bunch of good receivers throughout different trades and stuff when they got Christian Watson. Didn't they get Romeo Dobbs out of somewhere else?
I think Watson was drafted, but Dobbs was, I think, traded.
Okay, so yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they just need to stay healthy, but they got the quarterback, they got the running back. Defense seems solid. I think offensive line, but receiver could be another good choice there. So.
Yeah, and I didn't pay attention to their defense this year, really, so I can't judge it whether or not.
All right, so next is the Vikings. Vikings, we know, had a great year with Sam Darnold. He's no longer there. They still got Justin Jefferson.
J.J. McCarthy is
their guy. J.J. McCarthy.
Or they're saying, at least.
Aaron Jones is a great running back. To me, I know TJ is a great tight end, but if you look at his numbers, he had 0 touchdown catches last year.
But he had lots of catches and yards after catch, just not
touchdowns. Yes, but still not. I mean, if you pull up TJ's stats, they're not overwhelming. I mean, Chance, he had 400 yards. 41 catches and 0 touchdowns.
How many games did he play? Was he out for a few?
No, remember, he got hurt the year before that, but I'm pretty sure he played a lot of games. So to me, they're going to either have to pay him or whatever. I think a tight end is a young quarterback's best friend. I think you go get Colston Loveland from Michigan.
It's kind of funny. Look at his stats throughout these games. It is very consistent. 5-2, 5-2, 5.
Yep.
It's almost like they plan with him to be the weapon one week, and then the next week they say, we're going to use you as a decoy.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's part of the Vikings game plan. They're very methodical, but we could find out this year.
They were a very, very good team. Darnold had a good year, but a young quarterback, I think you need another tight end. Go get this. Besides the kid from Penn State, there's nobody off the board until the tight end from Michigan. So I think go get Loveland from Michigan and give him a good young tight end for the future that they can have.
Tyler
Warren went early. We had him going early.
Yeah, that's right.
Arroyo from Miami's a really good player too. So maybe him.
Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
and
the Fannin Jr. kid, he's a stud. So there's a couple good tight ends. I think go find JJ a good. Jefferson's going to get doubled a lot. Find somebody over the middle if and hope TJ has a better year, but have a young guy for the future too. So all right. So next pick, Texans.
Okay.
You are a big fan of this team. I know you like Stroud. I know you like Nico Collins. Tank Dell and the other, they just haven't stayed healthy. And when they got to a big time game after beating after they beat the Chargers, they go and play the Chiefs, and they just don't have the firepower to keep up with the Chiefs. That's why I have.
That was a prediction on our part too.
Very true. So that's why I think you go get the best receiver available. I think Emeka Egbuka is probably better than Trey Harris, even though I like Trey Harris. But I think they go get a receiver. Christian Kirk. He's getting older. I know he played
for Berrios is older now.
Yeah. So I think I said, Mechie.
But Braxton's still good. I don't think he's a third string.
But Nico's their guy. Tank's 2 years in a row been hurt. I think go get another receiver for Nico to throw to.
Christian Kirk is
for CJ Stroud to throw to.
Christian Kirk has never been able to become the true number two.
Yeah.
Even when he was in Arizona with Kyler Murray, he could not get the plays that they needed. That's why he kept.
Well, it's not the defense. Will Anderson and those guys. You saw he's training with Myles Garrett. Will Anderson's gonna have a monster year, and D'Amico's a defensive guy. Go get another receiver, a good solid receiver, and Emeka has been that for years for Ohio State. I think go get him and get CJ another blanket guy, and that way if somebody does get hurt, you still have a good player. Jaden Higgins and Burden are two other guys too.
Very good too. I like Burden's highlights. I didn't pay attention to him until I saw him.
So I think it's got to go receiver there. So,
I can't believe Isaiah Bonds dropped all the way down to 16.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I think it was a bad move leaving Alabama. Just my opinion. I think it was a bad move.
He was so explosive at Texas.
Rams, next pick.
Okay.
We've talked about this. They gave Cooper away. We're like, what are they going to do? They gave away Cooper Kupp. Oh, they get Devontae Adams. So that's a team that's got the receivers. They got Puka. They got Devontae. Tutu Atwell's good. Running back Williams has always been kind of by committee. Him and Corum, the former I think Missouri is who he played for, I believe. Blake Corum. Yeah. Higbee's a great tight end. So they got the two defensive ends out of Florida State who just dominated as rookies last year. Jared Verse, Fisk. They got. They're a really good team.
Yeah, they really are. It's so funny because with Stafford back there, they're not like highlight players and stuff, but they always come through.
But I think to me, when they go and play these great teams, DB, you can never have enough good DBs.
I agree.
Nobody really pops off the chart. So again, we're gonna go. We did Egbuka. Now we're going Nick Emenwari from South Carolina. The E's last names. Good DB out of South Carolina. I think that shores up your back end and gets another guy back there to help protect. When you're playing these big time teams with these firepower offenses, and so I think he's one of the best corners.
Corners.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best corners. Trey Johnson's off the board. Actually, I think he may be a safety chance. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But getting you a good guy in the secondary, there he is, number one safety.
Yeah, number one. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that he's a really good player. Malachi's already we've had him go.
Starks will be off the board.
But Starks was already off the board at that point. So you like that pick for the Rams?
Malachi Moore. They've got him 14. As a safety instead of a corner for the upcoming draft.
He played safety.
He was more of a strong safety, so I think that's interesting that they're going to put him as a safety in NFL because of his size.
When Chance gets distracted when we're going over the top guys and he's looking at the 13-14 range, but those are names that we're familiar with. Moore,
the ones that we think should be higher, honestly.
All right, so now the Ravens. Gosh, the game of the year, Andrews drops the pass against the Bills to go to the conference championship.
You saw the reason for that, right? Did you see that report?
No.
Oh, he had an interview the other night. He goes, first off, I'm an athlete. I should have made the catch.
Yeah.
But I questioned myself while running from the huddle to the play that my gloves were too soaking wet. Should I take them off? Should I leave them on?
Really?
That's what was running through his head before the snap. And he said, "Sir," I said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving them on." He did it, dropped it, blamed himself, but he knew it was because of the snow and them being wet.
And he also had to fumble that game too.
So he had it in his head, and that's all. If you've already got something making you think negative, something bad's going to happen.
I think they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. I think that this is the year they got to do it. They got the quarterback, Henry, Flowers. They got Hopkins off of a trade, Andrews, Stanley in the offensive line.
Who are they going for?
I think the Ravens has not had a edge pass rusher. When's the last time? Suggs. Okay. Those are those dominant teams.
Well, Carter will be gone.
Carter way gone. Walker way gone.
What if they trade up for one of those? That would be a smart move.
But you think the Steelers got Watt. All these other great teams have these big pass rushers that they're going against. Bosa, I guess he's not with the Chargers anymore, but
true.
I think that they need to go get a pass rusher guy. I was going to say Donovan, another E, Zukriar from Boston College, because I had Stewart already gone, Green already gone, Pierce Jr. I don't know if I had Pierce Jr. gone.
I don't know if you did, actually. I think Pierce Jr. was still on the board.
Maybe Pierce Jr. would be somebody that I think he would still be on our board. No, I do not have him gone.
Yeah, so that would actually be a good sneaky grab.
And Michael Williams I also do not have gone. He was somebody that I didn't have.
Well, so Michael Williams and Jalen Walker, I feel, are on the same tier.
Yes.
You could whatever team grabs them, the next one's going to say, "Well, we've got him."
I actually have Michael Williams as the next pick going to the Lions. So I think these next two picks, Ravens and Lions, they got all the skill on offense. Yeah. They got everybody, but Hutchinson is their rusher, but he's coming off the broken leg for the Lions. So that's two picks in a row. I think both of them go defensive end, edge guy. Whether it's vice versa, I forgot about the Pierce Jr. kid from Tennessee. Could be one of those three guys for those two teams.
And referencing back to your offense talk about them, you saw the mention of Milroe being rated as the best running quarterback for the upcoming draft that they've ever seen from a quarterback. Lamar was that before they said he can't throw. Yeah. And then he said, "Oh, watch this," and didn't run a single time in one game and threw the ball every play basically and was like 89% accurate or something. So I want to see Lamar say, "I was the best. Y'all just told me I need to do something better," and come back and be the best runner this year. I think he can do that.
Yeah, I think he can do that too. And obviously Derrick Henry, a lot's going to be focused on him. But to me, go defense, go edge, and they got the guys in the they got Roquan Smith, they got Humphrey, they got Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, their defense is fine.
They need somebody to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
They got to get somebody to get to Josh Allen, to get to Mahomes. Go find you a young freak out of one of these three picks. So
Van Noy's more of a coverage linebacker, right?
Yeah. So. We go to the Lions. We already covered them. I think they go an edge guy too, whether it's Williams Jr. or Donovan. That leads us to your team.
I know what we need.
Washington Commanders. We saw them battle it out with the Eagles. We know they got the receivers. They got Debo now. They got Ertz. They got Tunsil. I think you lost Jonathan Allen. You go and get an interior lineman, D lineman, to stop the tush push, to stop all the, everything that the Eagles wanted. That's the team I think you're fighting against to get to there. Go get a good defensive tackle. Derek Harmon is the guy I would say from Oregon. They got Lattimore as a corner now. They got tons of.
We gave up Sweat last 2 years ago, and someone else in some trades. So we've given up.
And Jonathan Allen. I know you got Deron Payne still, but maybe you go get an edge guy too. There's a really popular, but
we do need a defensive front. I think you're right on that, and I think if we don't get that.
So scroll up to the best defensive guys available. Like I said, I thought it would be Derek Harmon. I think he actually probably fell a lot
for tackles.
D tackles, yeah. So Mason Graham are obviously gone. Derek Harmon, he's.
I'll take Walter Nolan.
Nolan's gone. He was way gone.
Okay.
I got him being way.
I was about to say I can't believe he's on number 3.
So Harmon, they got him above Nolan. That's how good he is. So that would be a great first round pick.
Texas A&M, Shamar Turner, he was good.
He was good too. Yeah. So. I think that's where I would go. They got a lot of things elsewhere. Let's stop the run. Obviously, Barkley, those guys,
There's that, but I also think we need a lineman.
Yeah.
I think we need more young linemen for when some of our guys that are on their third and fourth year coming up are going to either want to renegotiate and leave.
I just thought they couldn't stop the run against the Eagles. I mean,
I agree
Saquon drops the first play. I mean, I think get somebody up front. We'll see. It's your team. You know more than anybody.
No. I agree completely. We couldn't stop the run, but I also think that just has everything to do with Saquon.
Okay.
I mean, name a team that shut Saquon down.
Yeah, not me.
So I think we need help on defense, but we gave up players we could have used all along, Jonathan Allen and Sweat.
All right, so now we got the best 3 teams in NFL for the last 2 or 3 years. I know you could throw the Ravens in there, the Bills, Chiefs, and the Eagles.
They don't need players.
They don't need players, but the Bills still haven't got over the hump. I think it's a receiver. You gave away Diggs.
Yeah. They replace receivers like that.
I know they do, but still, you look at the receiver. Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Shakir, underneath,
Now, Coleman is one of those sleeper receivers. Everybody talks down on him, but he always makes big plays.
But again, look at his stats from last year.
Okay.
I know he was just a rookie, and I know Powell thinks he's the greatest, but I mean, those aren't number 1 receivers type stats.
No, I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. I just think.
Well, then who's their number 1 receiver?
Yeah, they don't have. You would be on point with that.
You have the best quarterback maybe in the NFL, and yet you got all these other teams that got. I mean, look at Jalen Hurts' receivers. He's got Devontae and AJ Brown.
But I also would point out Josh Allen has turned no-name receivers into stars, and they left the next year.
Yeah. I think you got to go get him a guy. I think Trey Harris is the guy right here. I think you go get Trey Harris and give them a dynamic guy on the outside to go along with Coleman and hope they can go a receiver by committee.
Okay.
Not necessarily, I'm not saying Trey Harris is not going to be a number 1 guy, but I think you go receiver by committee at this point and get him and get a receiver for Josh Allen.
Let's see. Where was Trey?
McMillan gone, Golden gone. Higgins is another one that could be there. You know, Burden maybe, but...
Where's Trey Harris?
Up there, very top.
Oh.
5,
He wouldn't already be gone?
I didn't have him gone. I didn't think there was much needed receiver at this point.
I guess not. Most teams aren't going to be going for receivers early. So,
yeah.
I mean, geez.
Yeah. So I think you got to go Higgins or Harris right there. So that leads us to the Chiefs.
Whew.
I think this is the last run for the old school Chiefs. I think this is that Brady type run with all remember the old Brewski and all those guys, and then and old Troy Brown and all those receivers they had. And then they came the new era with Edelman and Gronk and Hightower and all them. This is the last run for the old Chiefs with Mahomes, okay? And the new run is about to come. So I think that they're keeping who they have. They've made a few trades. They've got rid of Hopkins, but Worthy's young, Hollywood Brown, Kelsey. I think there's going to be a major transformation. Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones and Kelsey retire for this year. I'm calling it.
I would say if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, Kelsey's definitely retiring.
Yeah, I think Chris Jones is retiring too, man. I mean,
he's old enough.
I think this is the end of the run of them. Whether they make it and they're going out, I think they trade this pick.
Really?
I think they go get some. They get more value
for the future.
Yes.
Okay.
And they go get some. They got young offensive linemen, but I think they go get some good defensive guys and get a couple picks out of this. I think they trade it to the Browns, who go get Jackson Dart. I told you that Dart's going to be a first-round quarterback. Some people have him higher than Sanders at this point.
They got him going to the Saints.
So I think the Chiefs trade to the Browns for Dart, and they go get some picks later in this draft to really bulk up for the future after this year.
Yeah.
Ride with who you got. Go and get. So
I wonder, with that being said as well, you saying this might be their last year of the
Old Chiefs. Then Mahomes goes and gets a new kind of group, and they go forward.
This is the final year. They're still in negotiations for trying to either renovate Arrowhead Stadium or relocate.
Wow. Okay.
So that could play a lot into it as well too. Like how is the whole season feel throughout with this?
Well, Mahomes is the future, and again, like I said, Brady went through this phase. He actually did it 3 times. Once with the Bucks. But the second phase with Edelman and Hightower and those, they got the old guys, the Brewskis and the Vrabels and all them were gone. Troy Brown and those receivers, and he went to the new school guys. I think this is the end of this old school Chiefs era. So I think they trade back. So last is the Eagles.
So for you, that's only that's one trade.
One trade.
Entire first round you've predicted.
One trade.
I still got 3.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so last one is the Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. What do they need at this point? They got studs everywhere.
Honestly, just backups.
Everybody I look at this league, and to me...
They've got all the way to 4th string on every position but maybe 6.
Yes, and I thought there was a rumor that Lane Johnson was retiring. I think he did actually, and so
Well, look, Wayne Johnson, football offensive tackle.
he's 34 years old. I think he retired.
Offensive tackle is Lane Johnson still on the Eagles. Officially signed this 1-year contract extension on Wednesday. So no, he's playing 1 more year.
Okay. Well, I think you go get his replacement. That's what I thought. He was done this year. I think you go get his replacement.
So he was done. He said, "I'll play 1 more year."
Josh Simmons, Ohio State. I think he's the best tackle left on the board. I think you say, hey, Jalen's still young. Lane's retiring. Let's go get the next best tackle. And he's third. I mean, to think that you get the third best tackle at 24, there's a 24th overall player by a lot of people. Go get him, replace Lane, let him work under an all-pro type player, and that way you got a future for Jalen.
Especially at an 89 grade going in, that's good.
Yeah, and get a future for Jalen to have somebody to block for him the next 10 years of his career. So that ends the first round.
Whew, that's going to be an exciting round for sure.
I'm going to be interested to see if you're predicting more trades. I think people are going to keep their picks this year. I did predict all Final Fours at number ones, and that wasn't an unlikely thing. I think that not many trades this year because people want their pick.
See, I'm feeling just like this isn't the draft class they're all excited for.
Okay.
So I feel like they're trying to make trades to get 2 for next year and maybe pick a later one.
And you're saying that, and your point, I did see a breaking story that the Browns were already looking to trade, and somebody was looking to go up to get their 5th pick in the draft. And I think it was the Browns. I want to say the 49ers. We're looking to go up. I think this, or maybe the Bears.
Bears, trade up to the number 5 pick.
Yeah, that's what it was. So the Bears were looking to trade up to the number 5 pick from the Browns.
So that would be having to do with the Shedeur Sanders drop too.
So I'm not who's the 5th pick. I'm sorry. It's the.
Is it Saints or?
You just missed it.
I did just miss it. Oh, Bears.
Jaguars. Yes, that's Jags.
And they're supposed to get Genty. So if the Bears go and they get Genty.
But I heard that another one was the Broncos trading up to that point and giving away a couple. I mean, I saw Bears, Broncos, a couple people. So you may be right about the trades. I may be wrong.
Well, that would make sense because those first top 3 aren't trading out. They know they need players. But I wonder about that, like 5th and down. That's a good market to get. 2 picks from the 2nd round for somebody, stuff like that.
All right, so last thing we'll do, five predictions for your top 5, and you'll get to see that on our picks for the week and our top 5 projections for the NFL draft here on. You already know mine. We just got to get this kid on Tide and Tigers.